Okay, a couple of announcements. So first of all, let's take a quick peek at the schedule. Today we are, where are we today? Thursday the 20th. So we're going to do section 1.9 and we're going to start section 1.10. But I want to be very clear that the test, which is coming up next class, that's Tuesday coming up, is our first exam. I want to be very clear that the two topics we're covering today are not on the exam. I'll say it again, the topics we are covering today are not on the exam. The exam is on everything that we did up through last class, not today, okay? Which means that the new stuff that we're doing today is in a new blue packet. So on your table, make sure you grab one of the new blue packets. We're not going to talk about packet 1 today, but when we come in next time, I just want to point out that, what's that? Oh, you need one more? Yeah, I only put 4 here. Sorry about that. Okay, so I want to say that even though it seems like we're done with packet 1, I'm going to ask you to bring it one more time, and that's this coming Tuesday, because the first part of our class is a review, and I'm going to expect that you'll go through the practice exam, which is in blue 1, okay? And you're welcome to go through that before class and then come in on Tuesday just with questions. But at the end of blue 1, there's a practice exam. Go through it, take a look at the answers. There is also a practice exam in the yellow packet number 1. And I'll give you a new yellow packet soon enough. Okay, any questions on the schedule? All right, next. If you go on to Moodle, there is a new document that Sandy just created. It's right here. It's called What to Do If You Miss a Class. And it's a real short document. It's just this. You don't need to read it right now, but it's just a bulleted list of the things that you can do to try to make up the work if you ever miss a class, all right? So this is up on Moodle. If you prefer a hard copy of it, let me know. I'll print you one and hand it to you next time. That's fine, okay? So take a look. If you ever miss a class, this is a good resource to go to. Okay, so we're now in blue 2, and blue 2 starts with table of contents, lines through some of it. Do you guys have the lines? No. Nope, I have lines. That's okay. Yeah, 8 through 11 is in blue 1. And then we start, yeah, you can cross it off. Doesn't matter. But just letting you know there's a table of contents. So if you're looking for something in particular, you can check it out on this page. So what we will do is jump to page 100. These page numbers just continue from the old page numbers in packet 1. So. Towards the bottom of page 100 is this objective. So let's start with the objective. Can we go to Crystal? Can you read the objective, please? Thank you. Megan, can you read the warm-up? Okay, so let's say 60 seconds on this with your neighbors. See if you can change that sentence into symbols. Okay, so we've got 4 different versions of answers for the different folks in this class. And I want to know which one or which ones are right and which one or which ones are wrong and why. Holly?
Well, the way I did it was
Mm-hmm.
because it kind of, yeah, that's how I did it.
So the 5 plus 7 is put in parentheses because it says you got to add 5 and 7. Then there's a comma, a break in the thought, and then whatever you get, you're going to multiply. And so, okay, so John, do you want to retract one of these things? Which one do you want to say is not right?
Well, the one I did was kind of the parentheses 2. That's not what it says.
Okay, that's not what it says. So let's get rid of it. Okay, so we'll get rid of that guy. Okay, Other thoughts? What about this 5 plus 7 and then the time symbol with the 2? Is that okay or is that wrong?
That is okay.
It's fine.
Just get rid of the time.
Right? You,
Basically the same as the 5 plus 7.
Yeah.
too.
it's exactly the same. You don't need to get rid of it.
Well, that's what I meant. It's the same. It's just if you took it away, it would look just like the 5. That's what I was saying. Right.
Right. It's right.
I'm not saying it's wrong.
Yeah. And so we have different ways to say multiplication. If it's just parentheses and no symbol, we assume multiplication. We could put a dot. We could put a time symbol. Both of those are correct. What about this last one here? Yeah, the last one would be correct if it said add 5 and 7 and then divide the result by 2. So just one little thing wrong with that guy, but it's a multiplication. Okay, so for maybe the next half hour, let's see how far we can get on the group work. You're going to be doing a lot of translating, and we'll check in with each other towards the bottom of this page. Okay, so some of you have already moved on to the next page, which is great. But let's come back here to this full class activity. And I think that some people have already done it, even though there are no directions here. But I think some people figured out where I was going with this. What I would like you to do is take a look at the 8 different expressions here. And I want you to circle all of the ones that correctly represent that phrase. So hopefully, one of the ones that's in here matches exactly with what you wrote. But there are several different ways to translate that phrase correctly. So circle all of the ones out of these 8 that are correct, and then we'll discuss. Okay, how about this first one? Part A, 1/3 R plus U, right or wrong? It's wrong. What is the 1/3 applying to in this problem? It's only the R, right? The 1/3 is only on the R because the order of operations says we got to do the multiplication before we do the addition. And so this one is no good. Okay, how about the next one? R plus U divided by, well, let's go with actually, which one of these is the most natural maybe? Which one did you guys select? All right, so I think I saw several groups pick this. It does mean multiply, but I think that is the most direct translation of the phrase that's up here. 1/3 of, what symbol is that in math? Of is multiply. The sum, okay, here I got to do something a little bit strange. I have to leave a blank. I know I'm going to be adding 2 things because I see the word sum, but I don't know what they are just yet. The cost of the rent and the cost of the utility. So a lot of people let R and U be these 2 things, but I'm missing something right here. What am I missing? Is parentheses, because it said 1/3 of whatever else is out there. So I think that's the most natural way to translate, but it's not the only correct way. So coming down here, if we believe that D is correct, then let's compare to B. There aren't any parentheses, at least no visible ones. But aren't there implied parentheses whenever we have a big fraction line? So taking 1/3 of something, it's the same as dividing it by 3. Finding 1/3 of something is the same as dividing by 3, so that one's okay. What's wrong with C? Yeah, the C is only dividing the U by 3, not the whole thing. So that one's out. Okay, E. E is fine because it says take the sum and divide the whole thing. That whole thing is in parentheses, so that one's okay. What about F? No, dividing by 1/3 is the same as multiplying by what other number? By multiplying by 3. So maybe you guys remember how to divide a fraction. You flip the second one and you change it to times. So this is like taking R plus U and timesing it by 3, which is not what it says. So this one's out. G is fine. It says take R plus U and divide the whole thing by 3. And what about H? It's only applying it to the R, not to the whole thing. That one's out. Okay, so let me just give you this one quick note and then you'll dive back in. The problems that follow lay the foundation for many future problems, including the infamous 5-part coffee problems and some difficult ratio problems. I expect we are going to struggle with the material on these next couple of pages. It is tough. All word problems. I just want to put it out there. It's okay to struggle with this. You will get through, but you got to push and you got to ask questions. Okay? All right, so go to the next page. We'll come back together in a little bit. 107. All right, so we're going to start here with this next lesson. We're just going to do half of it in the time that we have remaining. Again, the stuff from today is not on the test coming up. Okay, the objective for this lesson is to solve multi-step equations involving positive numbers and like terms. So for example, we're going to consider this equation, 25 equals x over 5 minus 10. Now that equation is more complicated than the ones that we solved last class and the class before, because the ones that we gave you before were of something like this form, x plus 7 equals 9, or 2/3 x equals 5. Because these problems here in red involve one operation. In the first one, there's one addition. In the second one, there's one multiplication. Yes? And so to solve these equations, you have to just undo one thing. But how many operations are there in problem number 1? There are 2. There's a division by 5, and there's a subtraction of 10. So this is now more complicated than the ones that we did before. So there's this thing written up here in all caps. It's all about the order. So look at this red equation, the first one. Somebody added 7 to our x. What do we do to solve for x? We subtract 7. We just have to do the opposite. Somebody multiplied by 2/3. We divide by 2/3. So the issue comes up in more complicated equations like this one here, that we have two things to undo. We have to undo the division by 5, and we have to undo the subtraction of 10. And the complication is that we have to undo them in the right order. So we definitely know, how do we undo divide by 5? Multiply by 5. So we're definitely don't write this. We're definitely going to multiply by 5. And to undo subtract 10, what do we do? Add 10. These are the two things we're going to do. There's no question. It's just the opposite of what we see there. But there are two possible orders in which to do these things. We could first multiply both sides by 5, and then we could add 10. Or we could add 10 and then multiply by 5. Both of them are technically legal. Only one of them is going to get us to the answer. So even though they're both okay, only one of them is what I'm going to call right, the right order to do things. So here's the deal. This morning, most of us put on our socks and then put on our shoes. Yes? When we get home later tonight, what are we going to do? Take off our shoes and then take off our socks. What happened to the order? It switched. It went backwards, right? Whatever happened last has to be undone first, right? The last thing you did was put the shoes on. That's the first thing you take off. So let's think about the order here. Somebody took our x and they did two things to it. They divided and they subtracted. Which one did they do first? The first thing they did was divide our x by 5. We can look at that and say, all right, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to say, here's this do list. So the first thing somebody did is divided by 5. That's what they did. And then the next thing they did was subtract 10. That's what they did. So in terms of our undo list, there's definitely going to be a multiply by 5, and there's definitely going to be an add 10, but which order is it going to be in? It's going to be that order, right? So it happened in the natural order that somebody did some stuff to our x. We need to undo in the other order. So what do we do first? We said we're going to add 10. So that's what we do here. Add 10 to both sides. And then we would multiply by 5. Multiply both sides by 5. Okay, so let's solve this equation together. I'm going to rewrite the equation here. 25 equals x over 5 minus 10. And then what did we say we had to do first? Add 10, so I'll put that down below. Add 10, big equals line. 35 equals x over 5. And then do what to both sides? Multiply by 5. So I'll put this in a different color here. So times by 5, times by 5. Good things happen on the right-hand side. What happens? The 5's cancel. That's why we put it there. It's just x equals. And then 5 times 30, 175. Good.
Are adding, yeah, are they still equal
Yes.
in importance?
Yes.
Okay.
The order of operations is still saying addition and subtraction are equal.
Okay.
Just do them left to right if they're both there. Multiply and divide are also equal, but higher priority than addition and subtraction. Okay, part C. This solution is correct if the numeric equation blank is true. This is my way of saying what would we like, what would happen if we plugged in. So I'm just going to recopy that original equation, but instead of x, we're going to put 175. So just copying that as it is, 25 equals 175 over 5 minus 10. That's the hope. I hope that it's equal. And then down here we can show our work. The left-hand side is just 25, so there's nothing to do with it. So I'll just focus on the right-hand side and hope that it becomes 25. So without a calculator, we should be able to do this kind of division. It's 35. And then when you subtract the 10, we get the 25 that we were hoping for. Okay, so the new thing for this is that you got to be careful about what order you undo things. It is always the opposite order that things happen in. This do undo list I think will help many of you, and I encourage you to use it. It is not required, but if you're putting things in the wrong order, I'm going to really strongly recommend that you write out this do undo list. That's it. That's it. Okay, see how far we can get on the next page. Oh, these reference notes. Oh yeah, problem start. A couple of pages down the road. Classwork.
Great, kid.